4 months is how long I've been part of the Zoe Nutrition experience, and it's time to give it a review. I've been following this religiously, and if you're serious about losing weight, make sure you stick around until the end of the video, because then you'll have my blueprint as to how I've lost 16 kilograms, 35 pounds, or 2.5 stone, however you like it, in only 3 months. So stick around until the end of the video to hear about my physical changes. You'll also learn the extent to which my weight loss journey has taught myself about myself, and maybe you can start dropping the pounds that I've done too. So let's start, shall we? I'm going to provide some context here because I think it's important before moving forwards and what Zoe is about. I've timestamped the sections below, so feel free to jump to any section that you fancy. So if any of you have heard about the Zoe Nutrition program, I'd like to hear from you down in the comments below. I like to hear from some fellow Zoe goers. Really hard to say. But we're going to delve into it now, and I think the best way to do this is by reacting to Tim Spector introducing the Zoe package to the UK. Let's start.
Finally, it's arrived. After 3 years of painstaking research and tens of thousands of people using exactly these methods, we're finally bringing Zoe's personalised nutrition program to the UK. I've committed my career to understanding how we can all live healthier lives. We founded Zoe because we discovered that we all had very different biological responses to the same food. So a one-size-fits-all approach diet just won't...
Yeah, just quickly on that. Having different reactions and biological responses to different food, that's been very evident to me throughout my whole life, because I'd always eat the same things as my rugby teammates, and I'd be the one getting fat. Never really understood it. But anyway, let's carry on.
Work for most people. And that's why we've created a personalised approach just for you. Zoe's personalised nutrition program starts with an at-home test of your blood sugar, your blood fat, and your gut microbiome.
All of this you're going to hear about later on, so stick around.
The insights from that test are provided to you in a comprehensive report, giving you information about your body's responses.
Again, these reports I'm going to be going into, so make sure you stick around. Timestamp down below if you wanted to jump forwards.
And advice to eat the right food for your unique biology. Your results also power your personalised app-based program, providing you access to a library of millions of foods scored just for you. At Zoe.
Yeah, I think the only thing to say about the Zoe app before we go through, and please can you fix this, it's the typing keyboard in the app. For some reason, the cursor just jumps around, and I could be halfway through typing one type of food, and it will jump straight back into the middle. It just not make any sense. I got to start again and so deletes twice. Don't really get it. Can someone look into that, please?
Nothing's off the table. This means that instead of removing food from your plate, we teach you how to combine foods so they work for you. So if you fancy fish and chips, you can have them. So this is science for everybody. What are you waiting for?
Good old Tim Spector there. Yeah, very nice. Right, well, let's get into all of this. Simply put, because I'd failed myself for 18 years. I've always believed that a calorie deficit is all that's needed to lose weight. I tried countless diets that just didn't work and just continued to demotivate me every single time. And my family has a history of heart disease. I just feared I was heading that way as well. I have my dad's build, and he's always struggled to lose weight himself. But at 58 years old, my dad joined the Zoe project with a goal in mind to reach his target weight. He'd never ever been able to do this. He was always over 15 stone, which is 95 kilograms or 210 pounds. But within 4 to 5 months, my dad had reached his target weight, finally getting below 13 stone. 13 stone's 182 pounds or 83 kilograms. He now has a six-pack and continues to implement all of the food learnings that he's taken away from the Zoe project. He was just telling me how in 10 years' time, when he's in his late 60s, he still wants to be kayaking on holidays with us as a family. So at 58 years old, he lost 4 stone or 56 pounds, otherwise 25 kilograms. So naturally, with someone who's so identical to me, I'd be silly if I didn't do it. Zoe actually came under my radar a little bit through the Diary of the CEO, which I'll link a couple of videos here. He interviews the lead scientist and co-founder of Zoe, who gives so much insight into this way of thinking about food. You can also find these videos in the link in the description down below. I want to hear from you about the tests you'd be most interested in doing by commenting down below. Now the testing weekend was quite exciting. Sounds weird, but all the health assessments I'd had before were just ones at hospitals. Zoe excited me because it was the first time I was actually going to be able to see my results. Here in the UK, the doctors normally just hold on to it, or you don't normally pay attention to the letters. For me, when I had my 47 blood tests, I didn't really get any paperwork back, so I didn't really understand what was going on. Same with my poo samples, but with Zoe, I could have my results right there on my phone with quick access for me to analyse, action and implement on every single meal that I would consume. And because of my IBS issues, I'd had many health assessments before. As I mentioned, 47 blood tests and many poo samples, and I'll go into detail in that in another video. But to stay on topic, Zoe tested my blood sugar, my blood fat, my microbiome and my prior diet. And stick around because I'm about to delve into these a bit further. For my blood sugar, for this test I had to wear a glucose monitor for 2 weeks. I had to scan it every 8 hours in order for it to capture all the data. Zoe mapped the data from my blood glucose tracker to the foods that I'd implement in the Zoe app. That way they were enabled to score my blood sugar. It didn't hurt to apply or to remove it, only hurt when I bashed it every now and again, which happened occasionally because I totally forgot it was there. That's how insignificant it was. But it was so interesting to see the impact of my blood. Seeing the reaction my blood had to a single plain bagel versus a plain bagel with bacon versus a plain bagel with bacon with 30 minutes of walking in between. This is just one of the challenges you get to do with the Zoe app. You have to do one of the challenges whilst you're wearing the blood glucose tracker in order for them to get the most accurate data. But even outside of the testing period and the blood glucose tracker timeframe, Zoe have many challenges in the app themselves for you to get involved with and just test and see how the app consolidates that meal. My blood fat was pretty interesting as well. I had to eat these famous cookies, which Zoe talk about here. They're intentionally made like this, purely for this exact test. I had to fast for 8 hours before, and I just did that overnight. So when I woke up, I had 2 disgusting cookies to eat. They were so bad, I had to have 1 full mug of coffee per cookie. And I was given a 20-minute eating window for this, which just seemed ridiculous. I'd swallow it, it was so glutinous. I just feel the need to, spit it back out again. It was so hard to swallow. But nonetheless, I then had to wait another 4 hours or so until I ate the next lot of cookies. These were particularly interesting. I had to log in app if there was a change in colour out the other side. But the app had reassured me that 30% of the people who eat these cookies don't actually see a change out the other side. So it wasn't anything to worry about. So at the end of that day of eating cookies, I had to do a blood prick off the tip of my finger. After eating all the cookies, I had to take my poo sample as close to the time as I possibly could, which was the next morning. That Sunday, I mailed my poo and my blood through the post letterbox and waited 14 days for my results. Now, in terms of my diet assessment, that's a pretty easy one to cover. There are a series of questionnaires I had to answer when I signed up for Zoe, but also had a couple of questions to answer on the day of testing. Zoe scored my diet assessment as a 44. It was pretty poor because previously I'd always eat about 3 to 4 almond-filled croissants a week. I thought that'd be alright because I'd always couple it with a flat white, thinking that coffee would balance it out a bit better. I also thought that frequency wasn't going to be that detrimental on my health. But I now realise through the scoring system in the Zoe app that I was eating these way too often. I now only have one of these a week, if that, and always see it as a treat. But that's one of the things that Zoe teach you about, is that you don't see these things as a treat. You see them as a choice. You just need to balance it out elsewhere, and that's totally fine with me. It's really easy to do, to be fair, which is why I'm giving a review on it. Now we're going to dive into the 2 PDFs that Zoe have given me, which present my results in a really nice presentation. So this is the first part of the 2 PDFs that Zoe provided me. So let's dive right in. Here's your insights report, dietary information profile, part 1 only. But yeah, these are the 3 sections that they've given me here in this PDF. Introduction, dietary information profile, and introduction to food scores. So yeah, I think if you've sort of been around this channel, which I guess most of you haven't, I've spoken about this a little bit already in my shorts, but earlier on in this video as well, such as the tests. We're now going through phase 2, which is the learn, and I'm doing the apply myself, and this is where I'm learning. I've been doing it for 4 months, and I know enough now to come out with these sorts of videos, so stick around for those ones. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. I'd be interested to know what sort of food choices and implementations that you've already tried that worked for you. So comment in the section down below. So scientific approach, it's about stabilising your blood sugar and fat levels and boosting your gut bacteria, which is the key to achieving a healthy weight and improving your long-term health, such as my dad. 59 years old, reached his goal weight, and yeah, like I said, wants to be kayaking on holiday still when he's like 70, in his late 60s, whatever. But yeah, the three combinations are gut health, blood sugar and blood fat, right there. Moving on to my dietary information profile. How susceptible are you to dietary information? In my experience, pretty susceptible, but let's see what this says. Analyse blood fat and sugar responses to the food using data from your finger prick blood test and blood sugar sensor. The combination of these factors, together with details you shared in your health profile, helps us understand your dietary information profile and calculate your personalised Zoe scores. So yeah, it's a combination of your blood sugar and blood fat responses to certain foods, and my overall health questionnaires that I mentioned that I filled out. Moving on to my blood sugar control. Quick reminder, what is blood sugar control? So basically, after a meal, we see that food causes large spikes and that it takes longer for the body to return to normal levels. Controlling these blood sugar spikes helps reduce inflammation, sustain energy, control hunger, and reduces the risk of diabetes and heart disease. All of which, besides the bottom two, I can say I've definitely felt I've had control of. Definitely have reduced inflammation, much more sustained energy, and definitely controlled hunger, which is also helped by Willie's apple cider vinegar, which you should check out in the link in the descriptions down below. But yeah, they've given a nice little graph over here. This is normal, that's large, there you go. Blood sugar control. How is it calculated? Blood sugar score shows how well your body handles blood sugar after you eat. It takes into account four things. Your blood sugar rise after eating standardized test meals compared to thousands of other people we've tested. Those would be the test cookies. So we assume you follow the recommended guidance for eating set meals. I did. Fasting and doing your blood test. If you deviated from this may have impacted your results. I didn't do any of that, so it hasn't impacted my results, hopefully. Your predicted fasting measures of glucose and triglycerides from your 6-hour blood test, your blood sugar readings from the blood sugar sensor, your self-declared health profile and measurements including your family history and whether you have any existing conditions. So this is pretty cool. Yeah, as you can tell, Zoe, here's the key up here, Zoe is the grey, I'm the red. So we compared your blood sugar responses to standardised test meals and a normalised set of other meals you ate, if applicable to thousands of other people who tested in our studies and products. So moving on to dietary inflammation profile, your blood sugar control. So here we can see a visual I've shared in my shorts before, but this is a common thing to see. I'm a 54, just above the average, but still only just, so terrible. But that's supposed to say +4. So we use this to predict the rise of blood sugar after meals and its health impact for you for different foods. Will it change? Your age, health and lifestyle have a big influence on your blood sugar control. So you may see changes in associated health markers such as your fasting cholesterol or triglyceride levels as you improve your diet and lifestyle. Here. Calculated by comparing you to over 2,000 people in their studies and product with a wide distribution of age and sex. So there we go. So how to manage your blood sugar responses. Use this Zoe app to get personalised food scores that take into account your blood sugar control. You'll be able to see your predicted blood sugar responses to any food. Eating a diet of high-scoring foods can help you manage your blood sugar responses and avoid dietary inflammation. But remember, it's not about blood sugar. Stabilising your blood sugar and fat responses and boosting your gut health is the key to achieving a healthy weight and improving your long-term health. The app can help you decide which foods to eat, how to combine them or swap different foods, so you can optimise your responses. Remember, blood sugar responses are only part of the picture. Zoe will help you stabilise your blood sugar and fat levels and boost your gut bacteria. Given a nice visual there. Definitely used to this visual, and I sometimes click through on this visual. Probably need to pay more attention to this because I've been getting some warning signs about too much low quality fat, and I'm in conversation with some of their scientists on the client services line. Brilliant, you're able to just dip in and out of the conversation as you please. They don't end up closing the ticket, so it's really good care they give you, to be fair. But yeah, in conversation about that, because I don't particularly understand it too much, I think it's just having meals too close together, because I don't really have breakfast at breakfast time and now eat breakfast around 2 o'clock. It's normally seasonal. I end up eating later as soon as it starts getting warmer, which is done here in the UK. First time it's sort of hitting 20 degrees, 19 degrees ish. But yeah, I need to pay more attention to that, and I'll try my best, because my next task in Zoe is to reach 75 plus meals. I've had 50 score days as my target for the first 4 months, which I can happily say I've been doing quite well on. Obviously the odd day where don't let that happen, but yeah, 75 plus is now my target. I'm in that phase of the Zoe project, so yeah. If you remember the visual from before, I'm in that phase 4 or phase 5, I think it is, that M1. But yeah, quick reminder, what is blood fat control? You may remember that certain foods release fats that circulate in your blood for longer than others. We also know that on average it takes 6 to 8 hours for blood fats to clear after a single meal. Blood fat control indicates how well you can clear fats from your blood and your body's ability to handle fat-rich foods. Controlling your blood fat level helps reduce dietary inflammation and is better for your long-term health. How is it calculated? The blood fat control score shows how well your body handles blood fat after you eat. It takes into account 3 things. My triglyceride rise after eating standardized test meals compared to thousands of other people they've tested. My estimated fasting cholesterol predicted by using my 6-hour blood test, and my self-declared health profile and measurements including my family history and whether you have any existing conditions. Pretty much the same as the blood sugar control, sorry. So yeah, we can move on with that. Blood fat rise graph, as you can tell, is visibly pretty different. The grey still being the population, and the red dotted line is my 6-hour fat rise, which seems pretty alright. What's this? Triglyceride rises. Interesting. Yeah. So we use your blood test and our advanced algorithm to analyse my blood fat rise after I ate standardised test meals, compared against thousands of other people in their studies and products. Dietary inflammation profile, my blood fat control. Here we go. The visual again, I'm a 31, I'm in the poor range, that definitely needs to be improved. So we use this to predict the rise of blood fat after meals and its health impact for me with different foods. Will it change? My age, health and lifestyle have a big influence on my blood fat control. But I may see changes in associated health markers such as my fasting, cholesterol and triglyceride levels. Yeah, again the same page as blood sugar, not much information there. How to manage blood fat responses, again the stuff in the app. This visual being the one I need to pay more attention to going into the deeper phases of the Zoe project. But again, I'm really enjoying it, so happily gonna be doing that. An introduction to food scores. Here we go. First things first, here is the science behind your personalised food scores. Our scores are built on science, which has compared me with thousands of people, different age, ethnicity, sex, health, etc. in the largest and most in-depth nutritional research program in the world, open to the public, with scientists from Harvard, Chan School of Public Health, Massachusetts General Hospital, Stanford University and King's College London. I believe that's where Tim Spector works. I don't believe I know. This groundbreaking research allows us to predict how I will respond to food, including for items I've never tried, helping me find the best foods for my body. Foundations of our scores. You all respond to food differently, so your responses to food can vary significantly from my friends. This is because we're different people with different biologies. Some food can be an occasional treat for some, while a regular food for others. Understanding your body's response helps us generate a score just for me. Their research looked at millions of readings like this from thousands of participants. We use this blood sugar data alongside my blood fat control and gut health to generate my unique food scores. So a visual over there, blood sugar responses, pretty average again, blood fat responses, there. We see 10 times difference in responses. Our science shows a huge variation in blood sugar and blood fat responses for thousands of participants after the exact same standardized test meals in our PREDICT study. So our science shows it's not about calorie counting, it's about food quality. High quality food feeds the beneficial bacteria in our gut. That is why it just makes sense that 200 calories of an orange is better than 200 calories of a donut, so forget counting calories. Looking off to the side, so 3/4 of a donut is 200 calories, whereas 1.5 oranges is 200 calories. So, there you go. Interesting. Foods with quality calories help you deliver a healthy gut, stabilize blood sugar and fat responses, and avoid dietary inflammation. The Zoe app will help you find tons of quality foods for your blood, your body. We believe no food is off limits. Food is meant to be enjoyed, so our scores are designed to help you make better choices around food in a way which you enjoy and sustain. Banishing whole categories of food is tricky. It's much better to learn how to make food work for you, so that's what we'll do. The Meal Builder and Journal in the Zoe app will teach you how to combine foods, even low-scoring ones, and how to sequence your meals throughout the day to avoid dietary inflammation and improve your gut health. We believe again it is important to eat a diverse range of high-scoring foods. That's where they say eat 30 portions of plant a week. So a healthy gut is key for long-term health. This means you need to feed good microbes in your gut. They all have different food preferences, meaning you need to eat lots of different high-scoring foods. By eating this way, you improve your gut health and reduce dietary inflammation. This may reduce long-term health risks like heart disease and diabetes, keep you feeling fuller for longer, and reduce cravings. And it will also help you lose weight sustainably, which is what I've been banging on about. So how are your unique food scores calculated? We've used your results to score and predict your responses for millions of foods. This includes all the whole foods you can imagine, as well as thousands of meal suggestions and branded products. We use artificial intelligence to compare your test results with thousands of people who participated in the PREDICT studies. This allows us to provide a score personalised to you and predict how you'll respond, even for foods you've never tried. So an intro to food scores, using your scores. So for me, a donut would score as a 3, white bread as a 28, so that cheese is 72, and an apple is 100. So your scores are unique to you. Indicate the impact a food or meal will have on your biology after eating it. We split your scores into 4 colour-coded ranges to guide you on how much and how frequently you should eat them. Intro to food scores again. Using your scores. So I'm a bit colourblind with reds, greens, oranges and yellows, particularly when they're close together. I think that's green or something. Oh no, red. Which suggests once in a while, 0 to 24. Enjoy in moderation, enjoy regularly, enjoy fruity. So yeah, there you go. Scale. Why are super green foods so great? We call the top scoring items super green foods. The beauty of these items is that you can enjoy them freely. There is no need for calorie counting or obsessively weighing. Super green foods tend to sustain your energy for longer, which can naturally help fight hunger, so you're free to enjoy these foods as much as you like. Don't expect miracles here though. Some of these food scores may be more obvious than others. The best and worst foods are likely to include things you've heard to eat or avoid before. Unfortunately, donuts will not be getting a great score for anyone anytime soon. Don't worry. You can still incorporate such foods in your diet by combining them with other foods in order to get a good day score. Magic happens in the middle. What may be less familiar is how your body responds to the foods in the middle. Knowing which of these is better or worse for you is key to unlocking your metabolism. We'll also teach you how to combine different scoring items together to create great, well-balanced meals, and how to sequence your meals in order to get high scoring days. So, a lot of factors go into calculating your food scores. We start from the nutritional content of the food and your unique dietary information profile. With cutting-edge science and technology, we are able to predict the impact of the food on your body. We are able to predict the impact of the food on your biology and your blood sugar and fat responses and gut bacteria. That impact is represented with a score. Personalised scores, there's quite a lot of stuff going on there. So let's do the stuff in the nutritional factors first. So amount of carbs, carb quality, amount of fat, fat quality, amount of protein, amount of fibre, fibre quality, processing level, and epidemiological evidence. And my biological factors: my blood sugar control, my blood fat control, my medical history, my sex, my age, and my microbiome. What about combining foods? Our scores do the hard work for you. As you can see, calculating your unique score for a food can be complicated. So when you start to build meals with many ingredients, it can get even more complicated. Thankfully, your scores put the best minds of nutritional science right there in your pocket to help you decide. Pretty convincing. Use the meal builder in the Zoe app to discover your score and get real-time feedback on your blood sugar and fat responses and gut microbes. Here we're looking at a pot of noodles with some, looks like chicken. Oh no, it's down here. Oh no, it's not. Chicken, some vegetables, some chilies. I can see there's some sesame seeds sprinkled on, some parsley. We can see a good blood sugar response on that, an excellent blood fat response on that, and a poor gut health impact, and that's probably because of the noodles. So I'll be looking to use shirataki noodles that I mentioned in my other video. So the power of combining foods. Let's take a peek inside the magic of combining foods. Take a simple sandwich. There are many ways you could cut this, and different sandwich combos can have very different impacts on my blood sugar and fat responses and gut microbes. The combination of fats and carbs, as well as their quality and quantity, all contribute to the score. So they've got a pretty cool cross dynamic here. So no bread if I just had them on their own. Yeah. There you go. Again, no filling. Again, if I just had them on their own. So what we want to really be looking at here is, let me draw on this. You want to be looking at this sort of score. Move that to the side. This sort of score. Avocado, hummus and lettuce, which is incredible together in bread or flat bread, whatever you fancy, with whole wheat bread there. And I'll be having even better stuff now because I found the best bread in London. It is just incredible. I can't hide myself from it. It's just so good. Brown sourdough, covered in pumpkin seeds and sesame seeds, just incredibly tasty. Had my first slice, had to have a second straight away. Again, allowed myself with that. So, how you sequence your meals matters. Intro to day scores. So, intro to food scores, the impact of meal sequencing. Remember that 6-hour fat clearance, we scored days to cover that too. This doesn't mean you need to wait 6 hours between every bite, but even healthy fats like avocado take time to clear from your blood. The Zoe app will factor this into your day score and help you understand when to have less. It's a great way to learn how to sequence your meals and get the most from your blood and get the most from your food and body. There you go, sequencing it. If I have an avocado just before 8, then have an avocado just after 12, then have an avocado just before 8. My day score will decrease even though an avocado is 100 scoring food. I need to look out for that. That's what I mean when I'm getting that warning sign. So my day scores. Based on my biology, our day scores show how the meals you've eaten over the day contribute to that diet that's healthy for you. They take into account the impact on your blood sugar and fat responses and gut bacteria. The way your response to one meal will impact your response to the next. Epidemiological evidence for the benefit of or harm of different foods. Our scores are always improving. As we continue to analyse the data from our studies and participants like me, their knowledge of how to understand my biology and its interaction with food will improve. This means my scores may change in the future. It's fine. I think it's just at the moment teaching myself this mentality around food, learning for it, and you know, they've got, I think, something over 400,000 foods and drinks in their database now. The only things I've really struggled to sort of scan are foods I get from the Asian supermarket with my girlfriend. So yeah, what's next? Here we go. My results are just the beginning. So this is the testing weekend that I spoke about earlier. But yeah, that brings that section to the end. Let me know which section interested you the most. Comment down in the section down below. And yeah, like I said, if this is good for you, be sure to check out Zoe with the link in the description down below, because you can get 10% off your first order as well. And with that, we're on to part 2. So I'm now going to go through my microbiome analysis. What I've got set up here is my iPad. I'm just going to run through this presentation just so you can see how in depth Zoe go into all of this information. Here's your insights reports, your microbiome analysis, part 2. And that's just a load of stuff there, just to sort of declarations. Where to find your results? Yes, I'm going to do a run through of the Zoe app because it's a really good interface, but that's a whole separate video. So it looks like these are the 4 sections here. Gut health. What is the gut microbiome? The gut is inhabited by a complex ecosystem of trillions of microbes that comprise bacteria, but also viruses or fungi, collectively called the gut microbiome. We have more microbes in our microbiome than human cells in the body. The number of genes in all the microbes in our body is also at least 100 times the number of genes in the human DNA. If we weighed all the microbiome, it would be almost 8 ounces. So why is your gut health important? The gut microbiome can play important roles in our body, such as maintaining the health of our immune system and affecting how we break down food. This I can say I've definitely experienced, because since the changes, my digestion has been better. Trips to the loo have been better. The gut gets colonised by many microbes at birth, and the composition of the gut microbiome is mostly dictated by what we eat, but also by other factors such as where we live, who we interact with, the medication we take, hygiene conditions, and our level of exercise and stress. By eating the right foods and living the right lifestyle, we can partly shape the composition of our microbiome, and as a result, affect our health and our weight. So moving on to my key microbiome insights. What is the Zoe microbiome score? Through their research, they discovered that the ratio of good to bad bacteria was superior to gut microbiome diversity for predicting blood sugar and fat metabolism, inflammatory measures, indicators of obesity, and cardiometabolic health. In short, this score helps you to understand how much your microbiome supports your metabolic health and the maintenance of a healthy weight. Their research suggests that the good bacteria might help to control your blood sugar and fat levels, meanwhile the bad bacteria may undermine this regulation. may actually promote inflammation in your body. I've been there. It's not nice. The bacteria. Why are certain bacteria good? Through their extensive research, they've discovered 50 good bacteria that are associated with better health. These microbial species are associated with favourable metabolism, lower levels of the inflammatory marker glyc-A, lower blood pressure and better blood sugar control. A video idea was what is glyc-A? If you know, please comment in the description down below. I'll be very interested to learn. People with higher abundances of these microbes tend to have better blood fat control, lower levels of triglycerides and bad cholesterol, and less visceral fat mass. Bad bacteria. Why are certain bacteria bad? The 50 bad bacteria, they observe the opposite effect. Less favourable on metabolism, higher blood pressure, and poorer glycemic response. The people with higher abundances of these microbes see higher concentrations of inflammatory markers, such as glyc-A, there it is again. Please comment. Higher levels of triglycerides and bad cholesterol, and greater abdominal fat mass. These microbes are also associated with a high intake of saturated fatty acids and a low intake of polyunsaturated fatty acids, such as omega-3 and omega-6. Fish. Your gut boosters and suppressors. So for those of you who've watched my other videos, here's what I've promised. So my gut boosters, this is roughly what the Zoe app does. It scores your foods and your drinks with a score of 0 to 100, like I've said before. So the best gut boosters for me are on my almonds and my avocados, scoring at 100. Then you've got other things like bean sprouts, leeks, guacamole, done at home I imagine. Interesting. I didn't know that, to be fair. Moving on to my gut suppressors. Chicken noodle soup, I think that's pretty obvious. English muffins, yeah, pretty obvious again. Processed bread. Chicken soup with rice, well there you go, rice. Canned, processed, there you go. Cream crackers, cream. Processed crackers. Crackers would be the one doing it there, I reckon. But a burger, there you go, 19 score. And that's a big shame, because I'm a big fan of barbecues. Love a burger. But unfortunately the beef counts as lower quality fat, and that's why it scores low. Orange juice again. The interesting thing here, and I actually watched a video from a well subscribed to channel where they interviewed someone on a podcast about fruit juice, and he was all for it. But the interesting thing here, and I'll link Zoe's video here, that Tim Spector talks about how fruit juice and even vegetable juice is actually so much worse than if you were to just roast it yourself, which is packed full of flavour and will fill you up a bit more. Common misconception, because what happens there, and if you watch the video you'll find out more detail, but a little description here is that you strip away all the fibre, the good stuff within fruit and vegetables when you do that, and you're just left with the carbohydrates. But they're not the carbohydrates they were before you blitzed them. Moving on again, ice cream again, that is a book I'm reading by one of the scientists who's seems good mates with Tim Spector. But the book tells you about a conversation he had with one of his friends who was a food engineer at Unilever. He was talking about how ice cream is so bad because they've recently discovered these new gums. I can't remember the exact date from the book, but full of gums, and it's because the guy who wrote the book bought an ice cream for his young daughter out on a summer's day, really hot day. But the daughter's ice cream, when he handed it to him, Chris, this is Van Tudiken, I think that's how you pronounce it, to go off and play with her friends, the ice cream hadn't melted. And Chris, a food scientist, questioned that a really interesting read. But again, more bread white, bagels plain, biscuits, same kind of thing, pretzels. That's a shame. I've also just been to Germany and had a pretzel. Glad I gave that weekend a bit of a break, actually. Would have got so poorly. But cola as well. Interesting, because when I've had a Diet Coke before, that scored as like a 31-ish, something like that. But yeah. And the appendix. Now normally no one would ever read this stuff. So they talk about how they analyse your gut microbiome. So they generated the insights in this report by sequencing the bacteria in my gut by using the most advanced technology called shotgun metagenomics. Video idea. Because I've had such issues with my stomach, I'm really interested to learn as much as I possibly can and regurgitate that information very simply for all of you. I just want to understand the position my stomach's in every single hour of the day, because I'm out the other side now and it feels amazing, and this is why I won't stop doing this. Yeah, using the most advanced technology and comparing them, your diet and health profile and your metabolic responses to food with those of the other participants in our research. Genes carry coded information that largely determine who we are, and they can be used to identify us. Likewise, microbes have genes that we can use to determine what they are and what they can do. For my results, we sequenced all the genetic material present in my poo sample that I provided. Sequencing means that we read all the genetic code found in your samples. Damn. Read all the genetic code. It's pretty impressive. I don't really know what's really entailed in that, because I'm not a scientist. I'm just a success story, and a continuing success story. But debunking all of my genetic code from my shit, there, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, translate it into data readable by a computer. Once this is done, we can determine which microbe the genetic material comes from, and therefore deduct the microbial composition of my sample. There you go. Pretty interesting. Yeah, so I found it interesting going over it again. Comment down in the descriptions down below if you found it interesting as well. And let me know if having all these health assessments would prove beneficial or even interesting to you. It certainly has for me, and it's been a game changer. Here's where I want to hear some other success stories from you lot in the comment section down below. So on the 27th of December 2023, I weighed in at 108 kilograms, which is 238 pounds, also 17 stone. This is particularly bad because I'm only 5'9" and have a family history of heart disease and diabetes. So going into the Zoe period, they calculated my BMI at 34.4. A healthy BMI should be between 18.5 and 24.9. A high BMI is associated with heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, gallstones, breathing problems and certain cancers. I've always been a big lad since about 7 or 8 years old. Fast forwarding to the 3-month mark of me following Zoe and taking apple cider vinegar every single day, I've lost 15.8 kilograms or 35 pounds or 2.5 stone. I'm in the best shape of my life, literally, and it feels bloody amazing. It feels so good because my stomach is now flat, or flatter should I say. I've still got some way to go, and that's why you subscribe to my channel. But my stomach's so flat now that I can see the top row of abs, and I'm even starting to see the middle row of abs starting to form. My face has always been the first thing to go, and that was very evident early on. It only took about 2 weeks for me to shed my face fat. Not that I've ever really had a double chin, but I certainly put on a bit of fat around there when I lose control a bit on my lifestyle food changes. And at the same time, the biggest thing, as I've reported in my other videos, these love handles are now slimming down. Thank goodness. Finally, I've found something that actually does that for me and makes me want to continue doing what I'm doing to get to this point. Honestly, they're such simple changes, and I just hope you stick around for the learnings. I've never been so slim around my waist. In the same respect, as it's sort of a rubber ring, my gut overhang that has certainly been developing over the past couple of years has definitely flattened off as well. And I can see it getting flatter week by week. And I've also found that I've got less back fat. And the final thing on my upper body that I've seen a very obvious visual change on is my chest. Now, I've never really had ridiculous man boobs, but they've always been there, and I've always been able to hide it a little bit. Well, so I thought. Some serious conversations and looking at myself in the mirror were needed before I actually finally admitted that I've got man boobs. Hate it. Hate that. Hate to admit it. But I do. I still got a little bit of it, obviously. Hasn't happened that quickly because this is sustainable and I'm not trying to starve myself. I'm not preventing my body from having calories and therefore the diversity in food that you need in order to healthily lose your weight. But they're much tinier and you can actually start to see the chest muscle behind it. Moving on to my lower body, I've always had big legs. I've never bought jeans because I could never find a pair that actually fit me, that actually fit my length, that will fit my thighs and my calves. They're huge and I hated it, absolutely hated it, and I still hate it. I still got problems, but my thighs are very obviously shredding down. I've always been a big leg trainer in the gym. I love my road cycling and I was also a prop in rugby, so inevitably I'd always have big thighs. But now the excess fat is going, I can really see the muscle separation and I really rate that. I want more of that. The most important sensations that I've been feeling, the physical changes that is the overall bodily feel. And this is hard to grasp. You'll get it after a month of these lifestyle changes, but once you've seriously started to reduce processed food, ultra processed food, lower quality fats, lower quality carbohydrates for 30 days, you'll see what I mean. I want to hear from you lot below as to who's down for that challenge. Do it for 30 days, come back to me and tell me if you believe me. But the bodily feel is the overall general feel of my body. Because I've struggled with IBS, no matter what it was, most things I'd eat would send my stomach off. Every single morning I'd wake up with stomach pains and struggle to get out of the house. So this is what I mean by bodily feel. I don't have that anymore. It's incredible. I'm so much happier for it, genuinely so much happier for it, because I thought I was so screwed. And it all started when I started to take Willie's apple cider vinegar every single morning. This stuff, which you can get in the link in the description down below. You can also get 10% off Zoe on your first order through the link in the description down below as well.